So today we're going to dive into what it really means to be mentally strong, and we're using the incredible work of therapist Amy Morin as our guide. Now, you see the title, 13 Things, and while we're not going to hit every single one, we are going to break down the core systems she talks about, and then we'll zero in on 5 of the most powerful habits. Because here's the most important thing to remember. Mental strength, well, it's not something you're born with, it's a skill, and that means you can learn it.
You know who I'm talking about, right? The kind of person who hits a major setback and somehow they just handle it. They seem to navigate chaos with this incredible sense of calm. What's their secret? Well, it's not some magic trick. A lot of the time, it comes down to the things they've trained themselves not to do.
Okay, so before we get into all the don'ts, let's make sure we're on the same page about what we're actually aiming for. Mental strength is really this 3-part system. It's not about being emotionless or pretending everything's fine. Not at all. It's about being in the driver's seat of your own mind, consciously managing your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So how do we get there? How do we build this skill? Morin's framework is just so simple and powerful. It's what she calls a 3-pronged approach. It's all about connecting what's going on inside our heads to how we act in the real world.
And it all starts right here, with our thoughts. You know, that constant inner voice, the stories we're always telling ourselves about who we are and what's happening around us.
And then, of course, those thoughts directly influence our behaviors, the things we actually do, or just as importantly, the things we don't do. And finally, our thoughts and our behaviors are what shape our emotions. And again, the goal isn't to get rid of emotions. It's to manage them, to let them inform us without letting them take over. See how it's all connected? It's a cycle, and each part can make the other stronger.
And this is how that cycle works in practice. It's a feedback loop. When you challenge an unhelpful thought, you give yourself the power to act in a more positive way. And when you act in a more positive way, you often get this amazing sense of control over your emotions. Each piece builds on the next, creating real momentum.
All right, let's start with that first prong, our thoughts. Honestly, this is where so many of the battles for mental strength are won or lost. So let's look at a couple of thought patterns that mentally strong people just refuse to get stuck in.
Okay, this one is huge. Self-pity, man, it is such an energy vampire. It's this cozy little trap that feels kind of good for a minute, but it keeps you staring at the problem instead of looking for the solution. Mentally strong people feel it, sure, but they make a conscious choice not to live there.
So what's the fix? It's a simple but incredibly powerful mindset shift, from self-pity to gratitude. And this isn't just about thinking positive. It's about actively rewiring your brain. Seriously, try it. Before you go to sleep tonight, just name 3 specific things from your day that you're grateful for. It is an absolute game changer.
And here's another big one that really separates the resilient from everyone else. Look, we all fail. It's just a non-negotiable part of being human. The real difference is what happens after the failure.
This chart just lays it out so clearly. It's that classic growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right? Do you see a failure as the final word, as proof you can't do it? Or do you see it as data, as a lesson on the path to getting better? Mentally strong people, well, they choose the second option every single time.
Okay, so once you start to get your thoughts right, your actions have a much better chance of following suit. So let's talk about the behavioral habits, the things mentally strong people just don't do. This is all about what you could call radical personal accountability. Mentally strong people truly understand that they are in charge of their own responses. They refuse to play the victim, either to their circumstances or to other people.
Think about it. When you blame someone else or you let another person's mood dictate your own, you're basically handing them the keys to your car. You're letting them steer your life. By keeping control of your own reactions, you stay focused on your goals, not theirs.
You know that saying, a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there? That's what this is all about. Resisting change is a totally normal human instinct, but it's also one of the biggest roadblocks to getting stronger. And that's the real danger here, right? Stagnation, getting stuck. Mentally strong people get that adapting to change is the only way to keep growing and moving forward. They actually lean into that feeling of discomfort because they know that's where the good stuff happens.
All right, we've hit thoughts, we've hit behaviors. Let's tackle that final, crucial piece of the puzzle, our emotions. How do mentally strong people handle their feelings differently?
In the world we live in, being constantly connected is the default. So true solitude can actually feel, well, kind of scary.
A lot of us will fill every single spare moment with noise and distraction just to avoid being alone with our own thoughts. But mentally strong people see this completely differently. And this is all about the power of a reframe. Time alone isn't a bad thing. It's an opportunity. It's when you can finally hear yourself think, tap into your creativity, and just recharge your batteries. It's not about being lonely. It's about restoration.
So, we've walked through what not to do with our thoughts, our behaviors, and our emotions. But so what? What's the point of all this hard work? Why should you even care about building the skill?
Well, the payoff is pretty incredible. We're not just talking about feeling a little bit better. We're talking about a fundamental upgrade to your entire quality of life. Less stress, more genuine satisfaction, and the focus you need to actually get things done. It's about building the internal foundation you need to handle whatever life throws at you and ultimately to reach your full potential. And really, that brings us to the most important takeaway of all. Mental strength is built in the small moments. It's a series of small, conscious choices you make day in and day out. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking back at everything we just talked about, what's one thing, just one small thing, you can commit to stop doing starting right now?